In this video, I'm going to tell you everything you need to know about choosing an iPad for music production. Let's go. Hi, my name is Pete and welcome to Studio Live today. Now, one of my favorite platforms for recording music is the iPad, but when you're going to choose an iPad for your music recording, there are so many things to keep in mind. You've got screen size, you've got memory, you've got processor, you've got a bunch of different model numbers, all of which don't make a whole lot of sense. So in this video, I'm going to break it down, make it simple so that you can know what to look for when you're choosing an iPad for music recording. Now, to make things super simple for you, I've created my iPad buyer's guide over at studiolivetoday.com/iPad. And over there, you'll find not only my recommendations for the best iPads for music production, but a complete PDF document that gives you all of the details of every iPad model so that if you are shopping for a new iPad, you know exactly what to look for. And in that guide, you'll find information about screen size, about processor power, memory, storage capacity, and everything you need to know before choosing your next iPad. So instead of just talking about it, why don't I jump in and show you exactly how my iPad guide can help you out. So here it is, my iPad buyer's guide. Now, the very first link here, and you can view this on a laptop or a desktop or a mobile device, is my iPad comparison chart. So if we click or tap on this one, it's going to bring up this PDF document, which is my iPad compatibility chart. So let's jump in and show you what we have in this chart. So what we have here is all of the different iPad models listed down the left-hand side. Everything from the first generation iPad right down to the latest third generation iPad Pro. And these are in order of release and performance. So you can take a look at which may be the one that you want to go for. Now, these shaded boxes are the ones that support iOS 13. And across the top here, you can see all of the compatibility for iOS, for GarageBand, for things like Live Loops and Alchemy Synth. So that's the first section there. The next section here, 3D Touch. None of our iPads have 3D Touch. Facial recognition, however, the latest third generation iPad Pros do have facial recognition. The next section here is connectivity. So does it have a headphone jack? You can see here that every version except the latest third generation iPad Pro does have a headphone jack, and then the connector is a lightning connection except for, once again, those most recent iPad Pro third generation. Next up, we have the processor and the RAM, or the memory. Now, this is going to dictate the performance, how well your iPad will perform when recording and when mixing and when producing music. And the faster the processor and the more RAM or memory that you have, the better your iPad is going to perform. Next up, we have the storage capacity. So the minimum and the maximum storage capacity of each iPad. Now, my recommendation is at least 32 gigabytes of storage. If you can swing for 64, if your budget will stretch, great. 128, 256, all the better. The reason for that is that when you start recording audio, you're going to start using up a lot of space for not only your audio recordings, but all of the apps and plugins that you may want to record on your iPad. Next up is the current price. Now, this is in US dollars and this will change over time. So go over to studiolivetoday.com/iPad and make sure you have the latest version. And I will do my very best to keep this updated with the latest brand new prices in US dollars. However, if you're looking for a used or a second-hand iPad, this next column is for you. This will take you straight into the eBay search for these individual models. Now, these are affiliate links, meaning if you make a purchase, they will break off a small chunk and send it my way. And last but certainly not least are the model numbers. Now, the reason I've included these are if you're shopping around and you're looking at second-hand or used iPads, you can actually use these A numbers to determine exactly which iPad you're looking at. And these model numbers are printed right here in very small print. So you may need a magnifying glass or maybe a smartphone to take a photo so that you can read exactly what A number it is. And that way you'll know exactly what model of iPad you're looking at. So let's click the back button here on our browser and go back to the iPad buyer's guide. And if we scroll down here, there's some other information here. So we've got the information here about what to look for when buying a new iPad. So as it says here, you can use the chart above to find the right iPad for you. Screen size. So do you want a small screen like an iPad mini or a large screen like one of the iPad Pros? Storage space, as I mentioned, 32 to 64 gigabyte is what I would recommend. Higher if your budget can stretch. The speed, the processor, or the memory, the faster the better. So for music production, go for the best that you can afford. And connections, do you want a headphone jack and a lightning port? Go for anything except the Generation 3 iPad Pro. If you're comfortable with USB 3, or USB-C I should say, then go for the iPad Pro 3rd generation. And finally, if we continue scrolling down, we've got a link here to that eBay search for iPad in general. And then finally, we've got my recommendations. So we've got 3 categories here. The best all-rounders that I recommend: the iPad 2018 6th generation here, the iPad Pro 1st generation, or the iPad mini 2019, the 5th generation. They are the ones that, if you're looking for something that's a good balance between budget and performance, they're the 3 types of iPad that I recommend. Next up, we have the best budget, entry-level, or kids iPad. And what I recommend here are the iPad Air 2, the iPad Mini 4, and the iPad 2019, the 7th generation, the brand new one. The reason for these are that these all run iOS 13, which as of November 2019 is the latest version of iOS. They all also have decent processors, good storage options, and decent memory. So you are going to be able to run a lot of those music creation apps, and you're going to have enough horsepower to get things done. And finally, if you're looking for the best performance possible, well, you want the latest and greatest, right? So the bottom one here, the iPad Pro 3rd generation is what you're looking for. If price is no object, go out and buy a brand new 3rd generation iPad Pro. However, the 2nd generation iPad Pro is still a pretty good option, as well as the iPad Air 2019. The 3rd generation iPad Air still has a great processor, lots of memory, and good storage options. So those are another 3 good options if you want good performance to be able to create great music here on your iPad. I hope you found this video useful. Once again, head over to studiolivetoday.com/iPad for my complete iPad guide. Thanks for watching. See you next time.